On this week's show, how to get started in property with only £10,000.
In the news, Lloyds Bank are becoming a private landlord.
And we're going to be answering all your property-related questions.
Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends.
Hey, I'm Russell Leeds.
I'm Alistair Cunningham.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good.
Well, we've been together all day. This is like the biggest dose of Alistair that I have had. We were together last night.
How privileged are you?
Not like that sounded, actually, but we were together.
He did take me out for a meal.
I did. Went out for a. It's great, isn't it, with COVID relaxing, and we can.
Do you know? I was saying to the for those that don't know, we're actually here with a few other people that just seem to hang around and just don't leave us alone. But they're here. We've got a live audience in front of us, and they've been with us all day. But I was saying to them that we went out for a really, really nice Indian restaurant last night.
It's expensive though.
It very was, yeah.
It very was.
Well, it
was 174 quid for four of us.
Yeah, that was a
Which for an Indian restaurant, we thought that. Well, obviously high end. It was high end. We had a funny story though, because when we were on our way back, Samuel's not here today. He's been in Liverpool dealing with his builder. It just made me laugh. I mean, it's probably not that funny, but I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
So his builder rang him. He was meant to meet him tomorrow at 10 o'clock at the property. And he rang and said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm going to be a bit late." I just can't say it with a straight face. So it's just like, "I'm going to be a little bit late tomorrow." He said, "Oh no." He says, "Oh man." He said, "I know that we're meant to meet at 10 a.m. I'm going to be there about Wednesday."
It was so true.
So it was like the day was Tuesday. It's like we were thinking he was going to say about 11. I'm going to be there about Wednesday. I just creased.
It was, and you were driving as well. I'm surprised you didn't crash, to be honest.
Yeah. But we're doing very well. So this week we're going to be talking about getting started in property with very little money. Well, I say very little money. Depends on your perspective, but £10,000.
Yeah.
It's not enough for a deposit, really.
No, not really. It's. Do you know what? Most people are getting involved in property with 5 to 15 grand. So we went bang down the middle, 10 grand.
10 grand.
How do we get involved?
Well, the interesting thing is, we actually both did that. So I bought my first property when I was 19. I didn't even have 10 grand. I had less than that. And the strategy that I sort of went down was I did a joint venture.
Yeah.
So I got someone to loan me the money, which I used for the deposit, and I bought my first house. It was basically a no money down deal.
Yeah.
You also didn't have very much money when
I had
you
about
started.
4,500, and I opted for deal sourcing. So I think actually we should do a David and Goliath versus JV, joint venture versus deal sourcing. Pros and cons of both.
Okay. Why David and Goliath? Because I'm a lot taller than you, or?
I don't know. It's the first battle I could think of. So
Okay.
I don't know. Like, what would you? Obviously, you went joint venture. I went deal sourcing.
Yeah.
I know. What did you guys do? Put it in the comments. What are you doing? If you got started with less than 10 grand, what did you do? What was the first thing you done to get in property and to actually start making money from property? So yeah, joint venture.
Well,
Let's do joint venture first.
All right, let's start with joint venture. So if you're getting started with no money, you can't afford to put the deposit down to buy the house.
Yeah.
You've got to bring something to the table, I suppose. And the first thing, regardless of which strategy you use, whether you decide to JV, whether you decide to sell deals, obviously you've got people we could throw in the mix rent to rents.
Yeah.
We could throw in the mix lease options. I mean, there's lots of different strategies. But with joint venturing, you're going to have to be good at finding a deal. You're going to have to bring that skill.
The thing is, right, you have to bring something to the table, right? You either bring the financial equity or you bring the sweat equity. One or the other. You're not going to get away with neither, okay?
Judging by you, it's a bit of a sweat equity.
Is it? Yeah, right. No, my point being is you've got to have sweat equity or financial equity. If you ain't got no money, you better start getting busy. If you've got the money, then you can get somebody else to get the busy part. So you become the joint venture partner. So, like I say, you done JV. Why did you opt for joint venture when you got involved in property?
Because it was before I really knew about deal selling.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 13 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, deal selling 13 years ago was around, but it wasn't a thing.
Barely a thing,
It was
really.
barely a thing, really. Yeah.
So I didn't really know about that. And I just thought, I want to buy a house.
Mhm.
I want to buy a buy-to-let house. I can't afford to buy the house. Obviously, I can get a mortgage.
Yeah.
How am I going to do it? Well, the obvious answer to me was borrow money.
So how did it come about, and how did you execute it?
Well, I bought a house that I was hoping, it was definitely below market value at the time. I was hoping that I'd be able to refinance it.
Yeah.
That actually never materialised.
Okay. Is that just because the house is in the wrong area, or it's just not appreciated?
It was a good buy. I'm glad I bought it, but it wasn't a buy. I didn't add any value to it.
So was this before or after you got involved with Samuel, and before or after you got educated?
So I was 19. So Samuel was 17 at the time.
Right.
This is when Samuel got started.
Okay.
So I was interested in property, and I'd done a little bit, but I was pretty fresh.
Alright, so ironically you bought a deal that didn't make you any money and you didn't have any education.
Yeah, I had a bit of education.
Not much though.
Well, not much, but I'm still glad I bought it. I look back at it and I go, you know what? That was a really good. I'm really glad that I bought that because I didn't.
So do you still have that property now?
Yeah.
Who lent you the money?
I borrowed it off a mixture of people. So I borrowed it. Obviously, a big chunk of it was the mortgage.
Right. Yeah.
I got a bank loan, and I borrowed the money off my grandma
For a deposit.
for a deposit.
Right. Okay. And alright. So what is it? What is it? And where is it?
It's in the Midlands. It's just a standard buy-to-let.
Is this the one that we spoke about last
I've
week? You had the
talked about-
same landlord, the same tenant.
Tenant's still there, mate.
I think he died.
The tenant died.
So they're not still there.
They are still there.
I hope not.
the tenant, right? So the tenant moved in.
Yeah.
After about 5 or 6 years, she
Yeah.
got married.
Right.
She has now died, but he has remained.
Right. Fine.
So technically, the tenant is. I was actually quite sad when she died because she's a really nice lady. but-
I know you've always said how great a tenant she was, and she always paid. She'd done a lot of maintenance as well. She used to always look after
Maintenance
the
on
place.
it. Listen, it's not the best deal no one's ever bought. It's not the best deal, right?
Yeah.
But it was a no money down deal,
Yeah,
and I make about 200 quid a month off it.
and you provided a nice home to somebody,
And that includes.
and it got you in started in property. That's the
Of
thing.
course, the first deal's the hardest, right?
Yeah, of course. It
And
is.
this was my first deal. Obviously,
Yeah.
I've gone on to do lots of HMOs, service accommodation, all this
the
fancy
thing is,
stuff.
right,
but
do you know what I see a lot, right? I see a lot of people come into property, right, and they haven't done that. They haven't done the legwork. They haven't done the apprenticeship stage of property. And what happens is that you've come in, you've done the legwork, the basic bottom end stuff, where you're buying like a little, is it a 2-bed flat?
It's masonette.
Yeah, so a masonette, a little small property, you've done it on a joint venture, and now you're moving on, now you're doing land. You've got like how many millions, hundreds of millions of pounds of deals have you got in the pipeline?
The
so to
pipeline
speak?
now, I've got loads. Got loads of things on options.
But now you're doing lease options on crazy big bits of land. You're purchasing land. You're building houses with Samuel. So it all started at the beginning with a small
lot of
little
that-
joint venture.
I'm still doing joint ventures today.
Yeah.
So like one of the latest deals that we've done, I've got a few people in the room that are sort of involved. So David's helping out with the planning and stuff. We were just talking about it literally 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, joint venture with Tony, who's been putting the money in. That's a land deal. So for me, joint ventures, it's like leverage.
Yeah, of
So
course it
even
is.
if you've got money, I still think it's good because you're going to run out. Money
Yeah.
is not. Well, it is unlimited in one sense, but your money is not unlimited. So if I was going to put my own money into deals, I would run out. And yes, you can refinance it, but it's going to hold you back. Whereas if you're prepared to do joint ventures and stuff, you can leverage off other people.
Yeah.
It's win-win. They're winning.
Yeah,
Tony's
of course,
winning.
yeah.
Tony's getting all his money back, and he's making a nice big fat commission on it.
Yeah.
I'm winning because I'm making money on it. Everyone wins, right? So I'm a big believer in joint ventures if it's done in the right way.
Oh, so let me ask you this then. Somebody who's brand new to property, they've got £5,000-10,000 available to their name. How do they best position themselves to attract a joint venture?
Well, I think the first thing they need to do is they need to know what they're talking about. So they need to get out there. We offer lots of free training. We've got the crash course, we've got Property Millionaire Intensive. There's lots of free stuff that you can get started with. There's also lots of books out there that you can read. So first thing I'd say, get out there. Make sure that you've got to be an asset, right?
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
not
of
an
course,
asset, if you're just with someone with no skills in property and no money, so who the hell would want a joint venture with you?
We say all the time, if you're not prepared to invest in yourself, why would somebody invest in you? We say that all the time. So I think it's really important. Education, get trained. That's what you then bring to the table. You bring the knowledge, the asset. Your asset is the knowledge, and also the network and the teams that you build. So that's what you bring to the table. And then the joint venture partner brings the money, because they might not have the asset, they might not have the knowledge, they might not have the time, but you do. So they bring the financial, you bring the sweat. Happy days, you do a joint venture.
Sure.
Get it drafted legally, get it done properly, so it's structured properly so that everyone gets paid.
I mean, even deal sourcing in a way
Yeah.
is a type of a joint venture.
Yeah?
Really,
I would agree with that.
you're still joint venturing on it. It's just you're not getting a profit share at the end.
Yeah.
You're getting a fee up front.
Mhm.
But it's equivalent sort of skill, really.
Well, look, you done JV, I went with deal sourcing. There's people in this room that have gone deal sourcing, there's people in this room that have gone joint venture. I started off deal sourcing by building my list of investors. I focused massively on building a list of investors. Like, serve before you sell. So serve them investors before you try and sell to them. And then I got out and I started finding deals, and I was looking at deal after deal after deal. I was out on the road every day looking at houses. And then one house was good, and then you sell it to an investor. But then it doesn't always sell. But then you don't give up. You just keep pushing and keep pushing. And then eventually you get to a point where the business is just selling deals. Now, in the current climate, it is a little bit difficult because we were just talking about this. The house prices are going sky high. Material costs are going sky high. Building costs are going. Everything's going sky high at the minute. So it does make it a little bit harder. Now that's good, because it means it gets rid of all the amateurs. So all the bad deal sourcers, no, the amateur deal sourcers are going to go out of business. They're going to be out of business because they're not trained, they're not doing it professionally, and they're not doing it well. You've got to do it well, you've got to do it professionally, and you've got to do it ethically, and you'll make money. The cream will always rise to the top, I believe.
One of the things that we always talk about when setting up a new business is you don't want it to be a low barrier to entry business. So you don't want a business that's so easy, because that way, if it's really easy,
Yeah.
everyone will do it.
Every time.
And yeah, you might make money to begin with, but as soon as people see what you're doing, everyone's going to jump on. Whereas, like you say, if it is a bit more tricky, if the building costs are if it's a bit more difficult to find the deals, a lot of people will just be like, oh, you know what, that's too much like hard work.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to.
Again, this is why it comes back to education. Get educated, get trained, because you're going to invest to get trained, and then you're not just going to give up when you can't find the deal. You're going to then keep pursuing it and keep getting on with it.
So
and you're going to become like a dog with a bone. You're just going to just get out there and just.
So let's
find
assume
it.
that you got a bit of education, so you're good at finding deals. What would you think if you were starting again now?
Yeah.
Your knowledge that you've got, so obviously you know you can find deals. Deal sourcing, joint ventures.
Honestly, I would do joint ventures. I think I would. I would use deal sourcing as a tool, but I wouldn't do it as my main strategy, because if I knew then what I knew now, I would go straight into JV and just raise finance. But it's a difficult situation, because out of the joint ventures and deal sourcing, I would say deal sourcing is a little bit easier to do than joint ventures, because you've not built a brand at this point.
You haven't got to follow through. What do you think then? Someone asked me this question earlier. I thought it was a great question. What do you think the pros of buying through a deal source are? For someone who's already educated, what are the pros of buying through a deal source as opposed to just finding the deals yourself?
Well, then you've got to ask yourself why. Ask yourself, what does an investor want? What do they need, and what do they lack? They need somebody to provide good deals. They need somebody that's going to do pretty much everything they don't want to do, because they lack time. Right? It's never about the money. I don't ever think it's about the money with serious investors. For them, it's their biggest asset, which you don't get back. It's time. So if you can save them time, you can charge them money. And I think, do it right, do it ethically, have terms and conditions in place that protect you and protect the investor. Work with them, find out what they need. What are their needs?
I'm talking about you buying through a deal source, though. What are the pros? Yeah. So rather than selling a deal,
yeah.
Would you buy through a deal sourcer?
You save time.
Yeah.
Well, I have bought through a deal sourcer. Okay, you save time. It saves all the driving around looking at hundreds of houses, or 10, 15 houses to find one good one. They generally have connections in the area. You'll generally get a better price because they've been working with the owner to negotiate the price down. You generally have speed, so you'll be able to do it quicker, and you can generally complete quicker as well.
I absolutely. If I was looking for something in particular, like at the moment, like you say, most of the stuff I'm looking for is land. It's a bit more difficult. But if I was looking for a buyer publisher finance or something like that, I for sure would, because I think the only danger with buying through a deal sourcer is there's so many crappy deal
Yeah.
sources where they'll say, "Oh, it would revalue at this, and it would cost you this to," and it's just like not true.
I had a deal. I'm not going to mention no names, but I did have somebody send me a deal a couple of days ago, and it's just not a deal. It's like the purchase price was 180. The refurb was about 25. So now we're at 180, 205, plus stamp duty of about £8,000, plus legals. So you're now about 215. And he was saying the end value was 220. How's that a buy refurb refinance? Because if the refurb goes on by 10%, which we say contingency 10%, and if the down value it gets down right by 10%, which is we know that's happening.
Well,
it's
technically,
just not
it is a
deal.
buy, refurb, refinance. It doesn't say you're going to make money
Well, it's not a buy refurb. It's a buy to let that needs a refurb.
and a refinance at the end.
Yeah, but not if you buy it on. If you buy
You're not going to pull your money
Look,
out,
look,
but it's still technically.
look,
Are you
no, no,
buying?
no,
Are you
no.
next question? Are you buying it?
Yes.
Are you refurbing it?
Yes.
Are you refinancing it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a buy, refurb, refinance.
All right, fine, but it's a shit deal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I agree with that.
Because you're not going to get any money out the back of it. Now, how are you going to buy it? You're either going to buy it cash or you're going to buy it bridge, right? The likelihood is you're going to buy it bridge because look, like, who's got £250,000 kicking about to pay for it all, or
Wow.
200,000, right? It's likely going to be on bridge. So when you factor in the bridging costs and the borrowing costs and the setup fees, there's definitely no
Yeah, but
money in that.
I agree it's a crap deal. However, what I'm more talking, at least they're honest that it's a crap deal.
But they weren't. But they weren't honest.
Well, you told me they put the figures on there.
No, they didn't. They told me. I worked the figures. I worked the end value out. He was saying it was higher.
That's what.
Like, he was saying it was like 260, but it's actually 220. And I'm like, wait, there's no proof that there's anywhere near a value of 260. There's no comparables nearby. Everything else that's been selling on the street is between 210 and 215.
That's the problem.
220,
Everyone
it's like-
overestimates the end value and underestimates
Yeah.
the refurb. And literally, like you say, like even 5-10 grand either way makes a massive difference.
It's a big swing.
Oh, it
Now,
is.
then you factor in the deal sourcers that have never that don't sell any deals, or they've sold maybe one little 3-bed terrace, and now suddenly they're trying to sell land. It's a big change
Yeah, it is.
because a 10% swing on a £4 million deal is a big swing.
So when you buy from a deal source, the first thing you need case studies,
Yeah.
deals they've done in the past, so you can see that they actually do know what they're talking about. Next thing
100%.
is you need to have the skill, and again, I know it comes back to education. I hate to keep harping on about it, but it's true.
Yeah.
You need to have the skill to check the figures.
Mhm.
You cannot take anyone. Do you know what this reminds me? It's same with marketing, right?
Yeah.
There's certain things in your business that you just cannot outsource.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can get people to do it, but you need to be responsible. Like marketing, you cannot outsource. If you just turn around to a marketing company and just go, just sort my marketing,
Yeah,
it will be shit.
it will be.
It just
yeah.
will be, right?
Yeah.
And I think the same with the deal sourcing, checking the figures.
Yeah.
You can't, if you just outsource it, you will get burnt.
Yeah,
You
I agree
need
with
to
that.
be able to check them yourself. Then they're going to do all the legwork for you, because most deal sources will do a deal where they say, look, you've got 2 weeks to go and
Yeah.
check the figures. If you're not happy, you get a refund, right? So as long as you've got the ability to go and check those figures,
Mhm.
it will save you a lot of work, a lot of
I-
legwork.
I
And for like
agree.
£3,000, it's a no-brainer.
It is a complete no-brainer because like most of my investors, like they make that £3,000 very quickly in their business, or so for them to take time off the business, they'd actually lose more money. So
You're also
I agree,
supporting
no
someone
brainer.
who's getting started in property that's trying to. I really like that. I think it's, they're often small businesses,
Yeah.
people that are trying to raise money to get started, make a break, make a difference. And if you can support them at the same time as make money yourself,
Oh,
it's all about
so
winning.
what can you do to protect yourself from a bad deal sourcer?
Well, you just need to be able to. You just need to be able to check
Mm-hmm.
the figures, and you
Yeah.
need to make sure when you buy, you don't trust them.
Okay.
When you buy it, you check. And also, I know there are other deal sourcers
Yeah.
who will take your money, and then you go, "A refund, please," and they go, "Ooh, sorry."
Yeah.
No, so you need to buy it from someone who's reputable.
And it's the same for joint venture. Like it's the same things. Know your numbers. Know how to check the numbers. Or if you don't know how to check them, know that you've got a very good like architect like Dave Taylor on hand who can boom. That's the figures. He can do it for you, or he can obviously there's a fee for that. Dave's one of the Samuel 365 mentors. So yeah, make sure you're on Samuel 365, and then you can book a consultation call with him. So it's just like know your figures, or know somebody in your power team that you trust to know your figures. I think it's really important. But so what would you say if you had to do it all again? Would you still do joint venture? If you were starting today,
The one I did.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
No, but if you were starting today, now that you know what you know, if you were starting today,
Yeah.
you had 10 grand, joint venture or deal sourcing.
I think I'd join a venture.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would as well. But I would still do deal sourcing,
think
but
I'd-
a little,
do both.
like maybe one a month or whatever.
I'm an and man, right? I want
that's
both.
fair, yeah.
So there you go, I'll do both.
Yeah.
But primarily both.
What?
Primarily both.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
fine, yeah, I
there
get
you
that,
go.
I get that.
So there you go, you heard it first. Alistair would do deal sourcing and joint ventures, and he thinks they're both great. And the whole purpose of that conversation, we could have summed that up in about 1 minute, to be fair.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't be the Property Investors Podcast.
That's true. That is true. Right, okay, guys, it's now time for this. Okay, so in the news this week, Lloyds Bank plans to become a private landlord.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
basically, Lloyds Banking Group is planning to become a large private landlord as it searches for new sources of revenue in an era of low interest rates, according to documents seen by the Financial Times.
Interestingly, I wonder where they're getting the money for that.
I thought that as well, and then I clocked it, right?
Yeah.
So what they're doing is, do you know when they tell people it's risky to invest in property and what
Yeah.
they should do instead is put their
Yeah.
money in the bank?
Yeah.
What they're doing is, when you invest your money in the bank, they are then using that money
Oh, to become private landlords.
to become private landlords, and then they're
Shock
giving you
horror.
0.0001% interest.
Shock horror.
That's quite clever, actually. That is like the ultimate joint venture.
It is. Yeah.
So what they're saying is, they're saying like, you know, you put your money with us, it's safe, and then they're investing it in property. Do you know, I take my hat off to them. Genius.
I agree
I
with
wish
you.
I could do the same. I want to start the Bank of the Property Investors podcast,
Mhm.
and what we'll do is take everyone's money and we'll invest it in property and give them pokey ass interest. What do you reckon?
Not boring percent. I agree with that. But I think it's like, look, that tells you, that tells me, that tells everybody that property investing safe.
Oh yeah.
Of course it is. If
I think
Lloyds
we've known
Bank-
that.
I know, but the banks are it's safe as houses, as they say. But I think it's brilliant. Great way to raise finance.
Do you think it's a bit of a piss take though?
Yes.
Considering that they won't lend you money, like for if you like, Samuel always says this. You know, you go to the bank and you say, "Oh, I want to get a loan
Mhm.
to go and get married."
Yeah.
They'll say, "No problem, sir. How much would you like?
Yeah.
10 grand, 20 grand?" But if you say, "Oh, I'm buying my first house and I need a deposit. Could I have a loan?" They'd be like, "Oh, no, it's too risky."
Yeah.
And is it?
Is it? No, I don't think so.
You think what?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the banks, isn't it? It's the banks play the game and they're masters at it, and that's why they're in the 1%, and that's why they're the elite and they control everything.
Bankers.
Rhymes with.
That's what they are. Bankers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you done that? You've done that. You put your hands in your mouth and you say bankers.
Let's see do it.
No.
No, go on. Go on, I want to hear it. No! You cannot say that and then not do
You
it.
do it. You do it. You do it.
Well, show me then.
No, you just go like this
Yeah.
and you say.
I want to see you do
No, I
it.
can't do it.
You gotta listen to. Gotta.
Time for the
Bankers.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You said
That's how
it.
you do
Wallace
it.
and Gromit then. Right. Okay. So look, hope you found that useful. Hope you found that news article useful as we did.
It's just interesting. It's not useful. It's just interesting.
What do you think of bankers? What do you think? Write it in comments. Tell us what you think of the bankers and the banking industry. I'm sure we're going to have some really nice comments. I'm sure we are.
I'm
Look
sure
forward
we
to
will.
reading them.
Okay, it's that part of the show where we test my property knowledge against Alistair's
We've got
property
the
knowledge.
quiz.
We have got the quiz
I
back.
completely forgot about that.
We haven't done the quiz for a few weeks. I think, Ricky, scores on the doors. I'm what, about 12-3?
No, it's
I'm
nine-
sure
it's-
Russell's
it's
winning. I don't know what the
9-4.
score is.
Definitely 9-4.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm at least twice as good. I think 3 times as good. But who knows? It's a new show. It's a new day. It's a new dawn.
Here, speaking of like games and shows and that, Scotland are playing England on Friday night.
Dude, I know. I wanted to take him. I said, a couple of us are going out to London. Come. He was like, I'm not going. I said, why not? He's like, no, I'm not having the battering after we lose. That was his exact words. So he hasn't got much confidence. I mean, we're already
We're
one.
going to lose.
You're definitely going to lose.
Scotland will definitely lose.
Yeah.
100%.
What do you reckon the score will be?
4-0 or something.
Oh
like that.
no, that's harsh. I think it will be 3-0.
Oh, it's not much hard, but I just don't. Look, I don't follow football, but I just know Scotland are pretty crap at football.
Sport in general.
And you've got Andy Murray,
To be fair, that is
Dario
true.
Franchitti.
He
Motorsport, lives round the corner.
his little girl goes to my little girl's school in
Yeah.
the same class.
Yeah. You got lots of good Scottish people. Me. Like,
He is a little nifty with football. Anyway, on to the quiz.
Go on.
So, Rick, what have you got lined up for us this
We've
week?
got some very good questions this week. A good mixture, some really interesting ones.
Is it fastest finger first? Is
No,
it
this
one
week
each?
closest to.
Closest
Right.
to.
So you're going to need your phones, get your
Alright.
notepads out.
yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, in the red corner we have the one and only Mr. Russell Leeds. And in the blue corner we have Alistair.
Yes.
Alright, question number 1. What is the average property price after the mini boom that we just had?
So just now, basically.
Yeah.
Average property price across the UK.
Yes.
Oh,
Do you know?
sort of.
I've gone. I'm committed. I'm committed.
Okay.
I've
Alright.
been very specific.
So have I.
Let's have a look. Okay, you've gone higher than me.
Question number 2.
Go on.
How much is the UK's second most expensive house about to be sold for?
Second most expensive house.
The UK's second most expensive house is about to be
This
sold.
is the sort of thing that I get way off.
Oh no!
Do you remember
And
the
when
Buckingham
I
Palace thing?
answer, he's gonna go.
I'll give you a clue. It's more than $1 million.
Do you remember the whole Buckingham Palace square
do.
foot thing?
I've got some Buckingham Palace in this one.
Do you know what? Though?
Oh,
He
okay.
laughed. He laughed at me, and then I said, "Well, I bet the White House is about that big." And he was like, "Ha ha!" And we looked it up, and it was. So he hasn't got a clue either.
All right. Question number 3.
Hold on,
Have you
hold on.
got a figure for the UK's most expensive house?
Second most expensive house. It's
Oh.
about to be sold. How much for?
Do you know? It just could be anything, couldn't it?
It could be.
Oh,
Well,
I've
not
got a figure.
anything, but
I've got a figure. Come on, let's go.
oh man,
You got something?
oh, I've got something. I'm
It's gonna
change
be
my
way
mind now. I
off.
think
Go
it's too
on, just
high.
put it-
Question
Number
number 3. According to Zoopla, how much did the average UK rent change in the last 6 months as a percentage?
Yeah, I know that.
You know the answer.
Mm.
Well, oh yeah, I know that one. No, do you? No.
Sort of. I remember reading something about.
In what? In the last year?
It's 6 months.
Last 6 months. No, I've probably gone too high then.
Go on.
Next.
How many doors does Buckingham Palace have?
Oh, for God's sake.
How many doors does Buckingham Palace have?
We had this before.
Last time it was
So-
windows.
Does that include interior
Hold
doors?
on.
All doors,
Alright.
front doors.
When you go on Google and you type in how many doors does Buckingham Palace have,
so
it comes up
basically, you
with a-
don't know.
I know because I've got the
Oh.
number.
Yeah,
in
you
front
know
of
the
me.
answer, but you don't know the
That's
question,
not
do you?
bad.
The question is
Oh.
how many doors does Buckingham Palace have?
Yeah, but what
Does that include
doors?
front door, back door?
Back door, front door, toilet door, everything.
Oh, jeez.
Double doors.
Alright.
There's double doors 2, there's double doors 1.
Let me ring the Queen.
Please do. And let us know when you got a sensible question.
That is
How many
not
doors does Buckingham
unsensible.
Palace have?
Oh, go on,
Can
next
you
question.
remember? Tell me, just remind me.
I'm not telling you how many windows it has.
I don't want to know how many windows it had. Well, I would actually, but you sound like you're not going to tell me that. How big was it again?
35,000 square feet.
Ah, it was more than
No,
that.
it was, yeah.
Was
That was what I guessed, and it was about 800. What was
I
it?
remember one of the questions was how many rooms is in Buckingham Palace, and I've gone by that. And I've doubled
How
it.
many rooms is it?
I'm not telling you.
How do you remember the answer?
Because we
shared
wrote
it.
it before we got to the event. So
Right, you should remember this one.
They always talk before the event. So basically, like, we get there, and then he amazingly gets that sort of question exactly right. And it's like, how is this possible? How many doors are there? Oh, there's 300, 721. And he's like, oh, it is. Ridiculous. I'm not
Question,
even gonna answer that
question number 5.
Not interested in question number 4. Go on.
How much does it cost in electricity to power Buckingham Palace per year?
What is your obsession with Buckingham Palace?
This is just brilliant. How much does it cost to power Buckingham Palace per year?
that's just such a.
That's a stupid question.
Why is that a
Although-
stupid
although,
question?
How big was Buckingham Palace again?
I can't ask Alistair, he knows. It's a stupid question until you get it right, and it's not a stupid question.
That's bang on, actually.
I've had a pop guess. Go on, is that all the questions?
Yeah.
Alright, we've got a job going. Anyone want a job as a quiz master? Right, go on. Let's
Right,
go
what
through
is the
answers.
average property price now after the mini boom?
£298,000.
£262,000.
241,604.
Ooh.
Russell takes the point.
Hey.
Give him a hand. All right, question number 2. How much is the UK's second most expensive home about to be sold for?
Go on.
I don't have a clue.
Go on.
40 million? See what I mean? How rude is that? Can you imagine if, like, Chris Tarrant did that? He's like this, here's a millionaire, dun, 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 dun. Hey? Fish steak?
I've put 154 million.
Oh, 185 million.
Yes.
God, I should have changed that. I significantly cut mine down because I thought you'd laugh at me, but...
Oh, crumbs. All right, question number 3. According to Zoopla, how much was the UK rent average change in percentage?
7%?
Oh, that's what I put. Bang on 7%.
See what I mean?
0.8%.
What, in 6 months?
Yes.
My rent here has gone up 10%.
It's average across the UK. 0.7%.
Yeah, I can only judge it on what I know, though. Can't I? What do you mean it's average across the UK?
To be fair, that question I did get somebody else to research.
Do you get Chris to research that?
Chris researched it, so maybe. Where is he? He may have written that one down wrong for me.
He might have put
Well, anyway, it's 1-1. It's 1-1.
Oh, it's
And
1-1. We'll
Russell-
cancel that one
I
out.
love the way how he laughed
Russell-
at us, and then he was like, "I've got to be honest though, I don't have a clue."
Yeah,
In fairness, Russell opted out of answering question number 4, so that means it's 2-1.
No, I've not.
What, have you not answered number 4? You got
Well,
answered
I haven't
number
put
4.
anything down yet because do you know why? I didn't want to think it through too much
Oh,
if I was going to lose anyway.
Oh.
So skip to the last one.
No,
No. What's the score at the moment?
1-1.
1-1. Skip to the last one. If I get it right, then I'll really have a think about question number 4. I don't want to think it through, put something stupid if I'm going to lose anyway. So, electricity bill. What have you put?
295,500.
Now that is ridiculous.
Alright, go on.
No, what do you think?
But I'm now going to bring mine down a bit.
No,
bring
you
it
have to
down.
put down what you wrote.
Alright, let me tell you how I worked it out. Let me tell you how I worked it out.
Let me
In case
see.
it's
Show
stupid
me.
as well.
Show me, let me see.
Let me tell you why I worked it out right. So, Ribsford, right, we had to, it's a lot of money. You can laugh all you want. Ribsford for a year, it cost us 85 grand electricity. I thought, Buckingham
That's
Palace.
because it's got no roof. So all the heat goes out.
Yeah, but we're not even using the electricity. It's ridiculous. So,
Just tell them the answer.
so I put 2 million.
No, you didn't. You just changed that.
I didn't.
That he had 3 million. He had 3 million there.
It clearly says 2,
Oh,
doesn't it, man?
man.
2.
What's the answer?
1.1 million.
Have it, yeah.
I'm closer because you had 3.
Hold on, I've got 2.
Yeah, but you changed it.
I didn't change it.
Oh,
So,
Oh,
what
you're
do you
getting
think?
it
I'm
wrong.
Who wins? Me or
900,000
him?
off. How much?
Yeah.
Who's got? Hold on. Are you actually closer?
295.
Oh,
I put 300,000.
there's still one more question, so that can be decided.
all right,
So that was a draw, because you were just both way off. How many doors does Buckingham Palace have?
Oh no, this is just such a stupid quiz.
Alright, go on.
I know.
295.
What?
I put 296.
1,514.
Yeah.
Alright, Jobsworth. They're getting on your phone. You're not supposed to Google the answers. It's not part of the fun.
So,
Oh yeah, I can't claim credit. I actually genuinely wasn't gonna. 203 is stupid.
But I remember there was 180 rooms, wasn't there? Sure, there was
I can't
180
remember.
rooms in Buckingham Palace. I don't need the answer, Mo. It's fine. Oh, class clown.
yeah, 1,514
Oh, fair enough.
doors.
We'll call
Oh,
that a
your
draw.
quiz sucks, mate. Your quiz sucks.
Yeah, now, Russell's a winner! Give him a hand!
Moving on.
Right, it's now time for some proper questions. So normally we do a Q&A
Yeah, proper questions.
where
yeah.
you write in and we answer our Instagram and our Facebook, but we've got a live audience today, so we thought we'd take some questions from the audience. Although judging by our last answers, I wouldn't listen to us if I were you. Has anyone got any questions about anything property or business related this week?
Yeah.
Yes, Adam.
What projects are you guys working on at the moment?
What projects? Do you want to go? I think he's kept this quite low key, right? But Alistair's working on a HMO in Bedford.
You might not know about
Still working on that.
it. So,
Not finished that yet.
I've got currently, I've got 2 deals ongoing at the minute, both by refurbs. And I've just put an offer in yesterday and another one. One of them should be, Bedford should be finished in the next month, 2 to 3 weeks maximum. And the other one is not completed yet. That'll be completed very soon. And then I've also got one that I've just put an offer in on Friday. I'm waiting, it's post-auction, so it went to auction, didn't sell, and I've put my offer in, and they refused the first one, and they've gone back to the vendor with the second one, and it's very likely it will be accepted. And that's a house that they started doing a refurb on it, but what happened was they've run out of money and they can't finish it, so I'm sort of swooping in and going to finish it off if they'll accept the offer.
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so obviously, as you guys know, we've got Ribsford, we've got planning went in for that for some extra houses, which Dave's helping us organise. So we're looking to get, fingers crossed, we'll get planning on that this week. That's been so slow because of the bats and all sorts of things. It's been a bit of a nightmare, but obviously got that. We've got our Leeds deal that we're doing at the moment. We're building 5 apartments. We've got another one, similar type deal we're doing in Bradford. And then at the moment we're getting a lot of option agreements, so we've just secured a couple in Aylesbury area, which are basically option agreements on pieces of land. So we've agreed to give them at a price, assuming we can get the planning. So now our job is to go away, get planning. One of them is going to be for about 10 units, and the other one's going to be about 30. So lots of stuff. It's good
Awesome,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
good.
good stuff.
Hi guys.
Cool.
Thanks, Adam.
So Adam.
Any other questions this week? Yes.
If someone came to you with limited experience in property and told you they want to get into land development, what would you advise them?
I would advise them, well, literally this week, probably should have been our news article actually. So Samuel's just released a book called Property, actually I don't even know what it's called. Property Development Secrets? Secrets Property Development? One of those two, not sure. But he's just released a book. We'll pop a link in below. And it's free, so you can get that for free. So I'd certainly get that to start with. And we're also putting on an event which will be teaching property development. Again, it's completely free. That is called The Secrets of Property Development live.
Isn't the book called that?
See, that's where I'm getting a bit confused. One of they're very similar. One of them's Secrets of Property Development.
Either way, education.
Yeah.
Right? Don't, honestly, I see this all the time. People getting into property and then suddenly they're landowners and land developers and they ain't got the first clue about how to do costings. Dave Taylor, am I right?
Yeah. 100%.
Honestly, it is not like doing a 3-bed terrace because you've got things that you've got to factor in that you probably don't even know about. So just walk before you run and get trained, get educated, get around the right people and make sure you're getting the right advice, which you will have to pay for. So if you're trying to come into this and you ain't got a pot to piss in, then you're going to struggle with when it comes to land because a lot of you're going to have to pay a lot of professional fees up front to get the right advice.
Yeah, it's not. Also, obviously, if you're going to actually do it in the development, yes, you can do joint ventures and stuff, but just achieving planning is going to cost you thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
So if you secure an option, like the last option we just did, with the to and fro with the solicitors, the option agreement cost us £4,000.
How much was the monthly payments on the option?
They've got a few in the pipeline.
Okay, so the
the
one
one you heard me secure in here
Yeah.
was £5,000
A month.
a month.
How long did it take to get planning?
We haven't.
So
Although
how-
I agree, I haven't signed that off yet.
Okay, so when you get it, you've got £5,000 a month until you can then capitalise on the money. It's a lot of money to find if you're brand new into property. So you need to make sure that development's long game. It's slow pound, isn't it? It's slow pound that will happen many years. Am I right, Dave?
Well, the funny thing is, though, I was saying the other day, it's like really weird because there's such big money to it. Honestly, when something comes off, you think, we're gonna make like £2 million on this deal. It almost feels like you're doing something illegal. Do you know, like the money that you're talking, it's like you're a drug lord or something. But obviously in property, because it is amazing development. It is like unbelievable what you can do with it. But you do need money to get started, really. You can do things like assignable options where you secure the option and then you sell the option on. So you don't need mega money because you can do things like that. But I wouldn't buy if you've only got. Well, we talked earlier about having 10 grand. If I had 10 grand, I wouldn't be looking at development.
No.
I'd be looking at other stuff. Building your funds. And like Alistair says, walk before you can run. Get some experience with residential properties and stuff first, and then grow onto that. There's the things that we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? The things that the strategies and the techniques and that you use to become, say, financially free, earning £2,000 a month, compared to the strategies that you use to become ultimately financially free, £10,000 a month or whatever it is, to becoming rich. And they're very different strategies, and you want to work your way up rather than just thinking, well, I'll just do development straight away. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a more niche
I agree.
thing, but it's
Massively.
definitely worth getting into, and certainly worth learning about in the early stages for sure. But great question. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Any other questions this week? Yes.
So throughout your property journeys, what's the worst situation you found yourself in, and how did you get creative to get out of it?
Well, I
Just personal or
accidentally
business?
property
a
journey.
business property, yeah.
I accidentally got into this right mess. I decided to team up with a joint venture partner to run this podcast. I'm still in it at the moment, but I'm working on it. So if I come up with any creative ways to get out, I'll let you know.
Ditto.
No, seriously, worst thing.
Look, it's just
I haven't really had anything bad happen to me yet.
No, you know what? It's not about
Buying
what
a castle?
happens to you.
It's gonna be good in the
It's
end.
not about what happens to you. It's about how you handle it and how you deal with it. Because bad shit happens every day. It's about how you react to it determines your outcome. So I don't see anything that happens to me as bad. I just see it as, oh well, move on, pick yourself up, rub yourself down, and crack on, and just get on with it.
Samuel's made a few, especially when starting development. Made a few where he's tried to spend not big money, but 30 grand losses and stuff. It's in his book.
But listen,
Should get
the
it.
thing is, it's all relative, right? It's all relative. When you're starting a business, if you lose £2,000, that's a big thing. But I lost £2,000 literally 3 weeks ago I bought a house and it fell through. I bought an auction property, it fell through, and I got charged £2,000 by my solicitors. I can't get that money back. What am I going to do? Am I going to cry about it for the next year, or am I just going to say shit happens, deal with it? I'm still owed £8,000 from a deal that I bought in February that didn't complete because the buyer wasn't ready to sell. So we gave them notice to complete. They couldn't complete, so I managed to get all my money back. But they're still holding on to my £8,000 deposit. Not got that back yet. It's a bad situation. It's a lot of money. But what do I do? Do I cry about it, or do I just crack on? Crack on and just deal with it. Make more money. I don't worry about what I can't control. I worry about what I can control.
I did lose a bit of money. I'd forgotten about it, but I've just suddenly reminded me. So when we were looking at getting into development, this is about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I thought, yeah, it would be interesting to see. Do you know, like those lending platforms where you lend money and they give you like a fixed return? It was quite high at the time, it's about 12%. So you put small amounts of money into a deal, it goes towards a development project, and then they pay you like a commission. I thought, that's quite interesting. Maybe we could do something like that in the future. I thought, I'll invest in one to sort of see how it works, what it's like and stuff. And that went tits up. So I put my money, I put about 10 grand in. So it wasn't, nothing major. And then the company went bust. Luckily, I kind of realised before it actually happened, I noticed that a lot of because they had a date that they're supposed to be being repaid by, and I noticed that quite a lot of them were going over. They were saying, we'll still pay it back, it's totally safe. When I invested in it, no one had ever lost money on this platform. It always worked. They had a good reputation. But I noticed that all these loans were being delayed, and I was like, that's not a good sign. So I tried to pull all my money out, and I sold all my shares. But you can only get your money out when someone else buys your stake. So I got about 5 grand back when people were buying my stake, and then bang, they announced it had gone bust. I lost about 5 grand, so it wasn't that big a deal, but I was a little bit pissed off about it. It's still sitting there. I can log on now and see all my investments there, but I can't get the money back out. That's probably the biggest, but I didn't particularly do anything creative to get out of it. I just took the hit, which you have to do
That's what
sometimes.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. One more question, then we'll get wrapped up. Anyone want to get any more questions?
Biggest challenges you've had for personal and business over COVID, and how you've overcome them?
Interesting.
Personally, for me, I haven't been that bothered on a personal level by COVID. I mean, I feel, to be fair, you've had it worse, because like Alistair lives in like a little, a very nice flat, but a little apartment in London, which has got really nice facilities like a leisure centre, and they're all closed. So he's like stuck. Whereas I live here, I've got like a nice garden, I've got space. I've got.
Is this a dick swinging contest?
I'm just saying, I feel very lucky.
Okay.
You know, like, and I'm feeling sorry for you. You know, but-
Alright, okay, so yeah.
do you know what I
fine.
mean, though? From a personal level, I haven't really minded it that much. I got to work from home. Development's carried on. It's
Yeah.
closed. It's been all right.
Alright,
You go.
well, I'm just going to recover from that. No, in fairness, look, it is what it is. Again, it's not about what happens to you, it's about how you deal with it. So I've just got on with it. I've just dealt with it, moved on, dealt with it, done what I've had to do to deal with it. Yeah, it's been tough. Yeah, but it is what it is. We've all got the same problem. Nobody wants to be stuck in COVID. Nobody wants to be stuck in the house, right? But at the end of the day, I made the most of it. I utilised my vehicle. I went out and I drove, and I went for drives when I could, and I've done as much business as I could. I've done whatever I could do to keep going, and I am. And we, as a company, we're now stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know what's good for COVID? Let me tell you what's good with COVID, right? I think, irrespective of what you believe or not, your beliefs on COVID, they're not, I couldn't care less, right? But I think the government have done the best of their ability to help us, whether you agree with that or not. Bounce back loans, CBILS loans, all this sort of stuff, they've done what they can with the knowledge they've got to help us, all right? Whether you agree with that or not, it's irrelevant, that's my opinion. The second thing is it forced people to get creative. So it forced us to create the online training because we couldn't run live events. So think about it from our point of view. We're coming back to the COVID's going to slowly lift. Old BJ's delayed it by another month, but that's neither here nor there. So we're going to go back to live events. We've got a crash course on Monday. Limited people, but we've got a crash course on Monday. We're going back to live events, but not only have we got live events, we've also got online events. So now, if anything, our business is even stronger. But it's because we got creative. Again, it's not about what happens to you. It's about how you handle the situation.
Yeah, you've got to use your situation to the best of your ability. Haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to do whatever you can. Would we be better without COVID? Not with COVID. Hey, it's irrelevant.
So it is irrelevant.
It's totally irrelevant because it is here. Let's just do the best with what we can that we've got.
On that bombshell, make sure you tune in Wednesday night, 7 p.m. We're going to get this out live on Wednesday. Make sure you're following myself, Alistair Cunningham, Ricky Mando behind the camera, and our resident quizmaster, Russell Leeds. Yeah, and you know what? Thanks for the audience for your great questions and your support. Thanks for that. But guys, hope you found it useful. We'll see you next week.